into this house, you kidnapped this man, and you held him hostage for 2 hours. So the question is, like I said, did you go there and kill him because you have me fooled and you're just a monster? Or did you go there because you're desperate for something and things got out of hand?
This is Billy Phillips, and just days before this interview, his boss was found murdered in his own home.
What?
Go ahead and make notifications for major crimes.
Now, Billy will do anything to prove his innocence, but little does he know, his crimes were recorded and detectives saw everything.
So that's you on video. Who's that?
That's me.
Who's that?
Me. No, I'm scared to death by this thing.
Jeff Biddle was the successful owner of Payment Solutions and had planned a date with a woman on June 23, 2021. Like always, he let his employees know well before this date that he would not come in for work. However, on the day of his absence, Jeff's employees would receive a cryptic, rushed email. Had a family emergency come up this morning, more than likely will be out of reach today. I apologize for the short email and will be in touch when I can. Thanks, Jeff. Jeff was never one to send emergency emails, and even stranger was the fact that he had already called off from work for an entirely different reason. So why would he send an email like this? Immediately, the Montgomery County Police Department was notified and dispatched to conduct a welfare check at Jeff's home. Unfortunately, they could never have suspected the horrors they were about to discover.
Can you unlock it?
Yeah. Oh.
What?
Go ahead and make notifications for major crimes.
Okay. Homicide first or medical?
Homicide, lot of blood. Looks like he thrashed around a lot.
So you said 122 caliber case.
122. It looks like a 22.
Okay. But you don't see that.
No, I don't see the weapon unless he's laying on top of it. But again, he thrashed around a lot.
Oh boy.
And it starts back over there. Well, now that I've stepped on their stuff, I'll keep stepping.
A forensic analysis of Jeff's body revealed that his murder was far from quick. He was shot 3 times in non-lethal regions and once in the head. This meant the killer likely wanted Jeff to suffer, and officers were about to get a good idea of who this killer might be. After Jeff's murder, check deposits were still being made in his name by a man called Billy Phillips. When officers began digging deeper, they found several bank records and camera recordings that showed Billy depositing close to $20,000 in forged checks both before and after the murder. And this wasn't his first rodeo when it came to stealing money. Billy was a prior convict who served 7 years in prison because of a bank robbery he committed in Virginia. Years after his release, in 2019, it was Jeff who, out of the kindness of his heart, gave him a job at his company, paying Billy $83,000 a year, and often relied on him for working on the company's finances despite his past. Ironically, just months before the murder, Billy attempted to commit fraud at Jeff's company, for which he was fired. If this wasn't bad enough, Billy had been caught on CCTV at Jeff's house on the day of the murder in a white SUV. Clearly he was involved in Jeff's murder, but why? Why would an ex-employee come running to the boss who gave him a second chance at life, only to torture and murder him in cold blood? 6 days after the murder, Billy was apprehended and brought in for an interview to answer these questions. What cops did not expect, however, is the history of turmoil and lies they are about to discover in the following footage provided to us by the Montgomery County Police Department, Maryland.
Alright, Billy. Do you know why you're here?
Not exactly.
What do you mean by not exactly? Do you have some idea?
They told me I was under arrest and that I would be talked to when I got here.
They didn't tell what you're under arrest for?
No, sir.
Did they tell you you had a warrant?
They did.
But they didn't tell you what it was about?
No, sir.
Okay. You don't have any idea what it would be about? So you hear about some checks that you deposited. Okay.
Okay.
Have you deposited any checks lately?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why do you sound like that?
I could explain it to you, but you probably wouldn't get it.
Well, why don't you try? Because I've heard a lot of shit, so maybe I would.
I deposited checks that I shouldn't have deposited, mainly out of desperation with new baby on the way and back was against the wall.
Whose checks did you deposit?
Steve Willard's.
Steve Willard's. Did they go through or did they bounce?
They went through.
Okay. How much were they for?
Normally like 25.
Okay. How did you come into possession of the checks?
Again, let's. Some of the checks I already had
Okay.
in my possession. They were given to me, and then certain things happened.
So you mean they were like legitimate checks that he wrote to you?
They were given to me in case of emergencies.
So blank checks.
Okay, with the understanding that okay, let's not write the bank off here.
Okay.
Okay, but let's. Again, it was in case of emergency, and I worked really close with the man.
Okay. How long did you work for him for?
Since 2016. Yep, 2016, 2017.
Until
2020. July sometime.
Why'd you leave?
Well, he went crazy. There's no other way to say it.
I mean, I've talked to the guy, so I like.
He went. They said it was a. Well, he said it was. What's it called? When you have the mood swing back and forth.
Bipolar.
Bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
However, it being as close as I was to him and talking, it was more like paranoid, schizophrenic.
Yeah. What was he paranoid about?
A lot of people in the company.
Cellfire?
Yes, sir. Okay. And
what was he paranoid? Like, what about people in the company?
Well, certain people coming after his position, trying to take over, trying to screw him over with the board, and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, he was right that they were trying to do that, and my job was monitoring and giving him information.
Were you like an IT auditor?
I wasn't an auditor. It was more of a jack of all trades IT personnel.
Okay. How much was he paying you?
$83 a year.
Okay. Plus health insurance and all that?
Plus health insurance. And then what kind of went sideways was Marie. And Marie got sick. She had an episode back in February. She had another episode. And I covered for her. And ended up getting, put in my sling. And Mr. Willard, who had given me standing orders if anything would ever happen again with Marie to handle it this way, then report to him. Well, he was at there's a psych ward up north.
In Sykesville?
Well, were you being funny?
No, there's literally one in Sykesville, Maryland.
No, there's Shepherd Pratt.
Shepherd in Baltimore.
Okay, so he was at Shepherd Pratt, and so I couldn't get in touch with him.
Steve was?
Yes.
Stephen Willard was one of Jeff's best friends and business partners. Together, the two of them helped Billy out financially and even gave him blank checks under Stephen's name in case of emergencies. For a man fresh off 7 years in prison, Billy had everything he needed to turn his life around. Bosses who trusted him and were willing to help, and a job giving him $83,000 a year. But, blinded by his greed, Billy double-crossed them and stole, a pattern that was all too familiar, and a pattern that Billy admits to, completely devoid of any shame.
So are Steve Willard's checks the only checks that you've cashed? Or deposited? I'll say cash and deposit, and I use them kind of indeterminate,
There was...
You thinking?
I'm trying to.
Okay. If I showed you some pictures of some checks, might they jog your memory?
The thing is...
Who's Jeff Biddle?
Guy I used to work for.
You ever cash any of his checks?
I have.
Have you ever forged any checks from Jeff to yourself?
Twice.
Okay, when was that?
I don't even know when that was.
What do you mean I know when that was?
It was recently.
How recent?
Last week.
Okay. It's kind of shitty timing, isn't it? That's kind of shitty timing, isn't it? How do you know Jeff? You said you used to work for him?
Yes.
Okay. This is kind of like a shitty printout. I'll see if I can get you a better one, but do you recognize that picture?
Yes, sir.
So this one is a check that you deposited into an ATM at the Navy Federal over in Crown.
Yes.
Okay. I know it's kind of hard to make it out over here. Here's a better picture of it. It's for $9,500.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you deposited on, it looks like, you can't read it here very well, but it's on June 23rd, which was last Wednesday, at 11:53 p.m. Okay, this one, you deposited, I believe with a teller, on June 23rd for $4,450. June 23rd, Navy Federal. There's no time on here, but I believe it was somewhere around 1 o'clock. Could be wrong about that.
According to a report, Jeff's time of death was placed at 9:30 a.m.
This means that 3.5 hours after his passing, Billy just so happened to cash out nearly $15,000 under Jeff's name, a mistake that he is about to realize the gravity of.
Where did you get those checks?
What, Jeff's checks?
Mm-hmm.
It's just where I'm real scared right this second.
Okay. Why are you scared?
And I mean, you've been nice to me. Everybody's been nice. I want to talk to my my fiance.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see about that. So, I can see you're getting kind of emotional. So, I'm just going to ask, you know what happened to Jeff, right?
I do, and that was I didn't do anything.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop you there. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay? We'll get to that in a second. Alright? Bill, you seem like a nice guy, man. Like, there's nothing personal going on here. Okay? Like, I'm not being nice to you as an act. I don't think anybody's been nice to you as an act. If you were I would be one.
I understand.
Okay?
It's okay if I drink the water we were talking.
Absolutely, absolutely. But why is Jeff's card in your wallet? See, Billy, the thing is that things happen and things have happened, okay? And everything that happens for a reason, you know? And, you know, Jeff's dead, okay? And somebody killed him. It was a murder, okay? And I know that you were there, and I can prove it. I can prove it to you right here that you were there, but before we get there, okay, like, everybody has all this nice shit to say about Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, that's really the story here that we have so far, is how nice of a guy Jeff is, and how, like, I can't believe he had no enemies. I can't believe anybody would do this to him. And there's a reason what happened to him happened to him. I'm not saying because, like, he was a bad guy and made enemies with you or anybody else, okay? But, you know, obviously, like, you're in a situation in your life where there's a certain level of desperation, okay? I know Steve Willard fired you. You know, whether it was because you did something wrong or he was going crazy is kind of irrelevant.
Well, he didn't. But
Well, his HR got rid of you. Okay, again, whether it was for a legitimate reason or not, that still puts you in a up situation financially. You got a new kid on the way, and you're strapped for cash. Okay, so I can completely understand, you know, like, how you're in this spot. You have a history, obviously, with Steve of stealing checks or, you know, writing fraudulent checks. Jeff's got money. You go there with the intention of taking his checks, and maybe he's home when he's not supposed to be, and something happens. You know, maybe you're like, you know, you did prison time, right, in Virginia. You don't want to go back to prison, and shit gets out of control and out of hand. That's a very different story than, like, you know, Billy's a monster that went to Jeff's house and brutally murdered him for no reason. Okay, those are two very different stories. All right, but here's the problem. I'm going to show you some records, and I'm going to show you how I know that you were there. Who's that?
that's me.
Who's that?
Me. Me.
You're wearing damn near the same shit you're wearing now.
Yep, me. That's me. That's me. That's Mr. Biddle.
I need your federal account records. You don't need to go through that right now. There's something specific I'm looking for to show you. Here's what I'm looking for. So these records are from Jeff's phone, okay? Go ahead in a second. Have the scoop closer to you? Alright, so I want you to look at the date, okay? So 6/22, that's the day before Jeff was killed. Okay? This is at 10:20 p.m. Probably goes to sleep sometime after here. Okay? 6:23 at 5:55 a.m. He Googles "Good Day Sunshine," which is a song.
Okay.
Alright? 6:23, 5:55, "Good Day Sunshine." He searches for it again. 6:23, 2021, YouTube. 6:23, 5:55, "Good Day Sunshine." He's listening to the song. Here he starts listening to the Beatles. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun. Back to YouTube at 6 o'clock. Here at 6 o'clock. Then right here, 6:23, that's 6:59 a.m. What's that? Can you read that?
SunTrust.
He goes to his SunTrust account.
Okay.
Right here, same exact time, he probably clicked another link on his SunTrust account, okay? This is from his phone. Put that aside for a second. This is a forwarded email. The top half was forwarded to my partner, okay? At 9:07 a.m., an email goes from Jeff to some of the membership of PSI.
Okay.
Had a family emergency come up this morning. More than likely we've out of reach today. Apologize for the short email and will be in touch when I can. Thanks, Jeff. So when they got this email, immediately they became suspicious because Jeff wasn't supposed to work on this day. What I know about Jeff and what I'm sure you know about him is that he's a workaholic. So he's always at work. Well, he took off on Wednesday the 23rd. He was going on a date with this girl he just started dating. We were supposed to be going all day. So right away, the company is like, you know what I mean? Like, that's weird.
But this wasn't the only thing that was weird about the email. The formatting was completely off, and one of the first responders was even informed about this when Jeff's body was initially discovered.
Oh, okay, you can hear me, okay. So they said there were a couple weird things, like he put in the header family emergency.
Okay.
And they said he is the type of guy that every single email he ever sends out is in the subject line, he puts what he wants to tell you. And he said for years, like they've known this guy for like 11 years, worked for him. And they said, we've told him, just do your emails properly. But he said this time the subject line said family emergency. And when you open the email, it said, hi guys, sorry, I'm going to be out of the office today for a family emergency. And they said, but they already knew he wasn't going to be in the office. Like that was already a long time ago. I forget what he had, if he had some medical thing, but he was planning not to be in the office.
Okay.
So, it was really weird.
Since the email wasn't from Jeff, there is only one plausible outcome that detectives believe happened. Billy likely held him hostage and tortured him because of their tumultuous past. But Jeff's discipline in showing up to work was a problem, as he was known never to miss a day without any prior notice. If Billy didn't do something, Jeff's employees would become suspicious and catch on. So in a hurry, he sent out an email of absence under the guise of a family emergency. However, little did he know that not only had Jeff called off from work that day for an entirely different reason, but the formatting of the email was completely off. And if this is not bad enough, it is only one piece of the mountain of evidence detectives have against Billy.
We had you on video with Sunoco too, driver. You drive that car often?
Yes.
Yeah. So the times on this camera are a tad off. You know how some of those cameras can be? But at 7:02 a.m., this car goes by Jeff's house. So this camera is the corner house, which is the one next to Jeff's.
Okay.
So this is Jeff's street. Okay? So right around the same time that SunTrust website, accesses this car, which right now, I can't see the tag on this, okay? But that's your car. I know it's your car. Going by. Then, that email sent at 9:07. All right? No other emails or any text messages go out from Jeff's phone. $9:20 in the morning. It's a bad picture because it's a still shot I took from a video. Okay? But this is you walking away from his house. And when we get your cell phone records back, I know exactly what they're going to say. You're an IT guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how cell phones work, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that their apps are always updating. They're always trying to reach out to Wi-Fi and reach out to update.
Mm-hmm.
So we get this data called timing advance data.
Mm-hmm.
So about every 30 or so seconds, your phone is reaching out. I know what your cell phone's going to come back and say. I don't have it yet. I don't have the records back yet. So that's how I know that you were there when Jeff was killed. So the question is, like I said, did you go there and kill him because you have me fooled and you're just a monster? Or did you go there because you're desperate for something and things got out of hand? And this is your opportunity to tell that side of the story. They say there's two sides to every story. Well, if the side that I had was favorable to you already, you wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? So this is it, man. Like, this is your shot to tell us what happened. I know what happened. I don't know all the details. I don't know how it happened. And I don't know why it happened. But this is your chance to maybe put a little bit of an explanation on it, because people want to know, and people are going to be asking, and it matters. Maybe there's a reason for why what happened, or maybe there isn't. But there's only two people who know the answer to that, and one of them's dead.
And the other one's a convicted felon.
I don't care that you're a convicted felon at all. That has nothing to do with why you're here. I don't, yes, you're a convicted felon, you're a convicted bank robber, but that was a long time ago. Okay? And you're not here because I was like, oh shit, Billy did a bank robbery, he must have killed Jeff.
No.
You're here because everything lines up. The evidence puts you there. That also goes to show that, this wasn't some pre-planned out horrific thing. You did a awful job if it would have if this was a pre-planned thing. But it looks bad because you're a big dude, you're 36 years old, he's a 66-year-old man killed in his house. It fucking looks bad, man. And you're wearing the same clothes that you're wearing at the bank. You're wearing the same clothes that you're wearing on that video. Nothing here looks good for you. But again, the thing you have to hold on to is that there might be a reason for this. You didn't mean for this to happen. Or maybe you did, and I'm wrong, and you're just but you don't strike me as that. The guys who took you into custody out by your apartment, they called me right away, right? And they're like, dude, this guy is as nice as can be. You've been as nice and as respectful as can be here. I'm younger than you and you're calling me sir and shit. You don't have to do that anyways, you know what I mean? I'm not sir, I'm just Pete. But there's no question that you did this. There isn't, or that you were there.
I was there, but I didn't kill him.
So what happened? If you were there but you didn't kill him, what happened?
And this is the part that just...
So that's you on video. What happened? Was somebody else with you?
No.
Okay. Did he shoot himself?
No.
Okay. I know he didn't shoot himself because of where he was shot and how many times he was shot. So what the fuck happened? I know he was alive between 6 and 7. I know what time you got there. Okay? I know he didn't make that call to SunTrust unless he did it because you made him do it. You have his f***ing card in your wallet. You cashed his checks that you forged to yourself the day he was murdered. And I'm not yelling at you to yell at you or being I'm trying to get it through your head that this is fucked up. And I'm giving you the chance to tell me what happened. Because if you don't give me the chance, if you don't tell me what happened, you know what it looks like. And you know what they're going to say. I can't make you any promises, man, but you're looking at, this is serious. You think your bank robbery was bad? How much time did you do for that? 7. You think that was bad? Bro, you're looking at going to prison for the rest of your life. Because the way it looks is it looks like you broke into this house, you kidnapped this man, and you held him hostage for 2 hours and murdered him in cold blood, and then cashed his checks on not only the day of the murder, but 2 days later. How does that look? It frustrates me because I know there's a reason. I know you didn't just go there to kill that dude. Because I believe, because you have some working knowledge of his company and his work habits because you used to work for him, that you had no idea he was going to be there. I don't think you went there to hurt him. I think you went there to steal checks.
Actually, I knew he was...
So you knew he was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how did you end up there at 7 o'clock in the morning? Why did you go there? mean, this is it, Billy. Like right now, sitting here talking to me, this is the biggest moment of your life. Okay? It's bigger than when your daughter was born last month or earlier this month. This is the biggest moment of your life right now.
But there's just no way.
There's no what? You're sitting here telling me I didn't do it, I didn't this, I didn't that, but you're not giving me anything other than, like, give me something here. Give yourself something here. You know what I mean? Like, this is your chance to explain what happened. Because it doesn't look good. It looks horrible. You know? But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there just isn't a reason. Maybe that's why you can't tell me anything. Because maybe you did just go there to kill him because you were mad at him. Is that not what happened?
No, that's not what happened, Pete.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, Pete. Call me Pete. That's my name. Okay? You don't need to call me detective or sir or anything. Call me Pete. Like.
See, no matter what I do, you're not going to believe me. It won't matter.
Well, you haven't told me anything, Billy. Like, you say that, but you haven't told me anything. All you've told me is that you were there. But then you won't say, and you said nobody else was there. So it's not like you went there with somebody else. All you've told me is that you were there, which I already knew. And then it won't matter. That's all you've said. So, you say that, but how do you know? Like, I'm telling you, man, I'm not lying to you. This is your one opportunity to put out there what happened. Because everything's going to change after this. You know what happened. You know how it happened. You're the only one that can put those pieces together. Because again, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and be like, oh, you can just explain your way out of this and it'll all be okay.
I'm not.
But the fact is that, like, again, there's a huge difference between, there's a lot of, like, when things happen, when people get shot or whatever, like, there's a lot of different reasons. Like, on one end of the spectrum, you have, like, where, like, somebody shoots and kills somebody in self-defense, right? That happens. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have a serial killer. That just kills people just to kill them. There's a huge space in between. And I don't think he meant to kill Jeff at all, okay? But I think something got out of hand, and what happened. But, dude, I'm telling you, if this is the spectrum, with what I have, what I've seen, okay, what that crime scene looks like, and you sitting here and not telling me anything, it looks closer to this end of the spectrum than this end. Okay, when maybe the truth is somewhere in here. But only you can put that out there. Only you can give that. Only you can give yourself that chance. Give yourself, like, help yourself here, man. Like, I'm throwing you a line. With the amount of evidence that I have, and I know that I don't have yet, but that I will have because I've been doing this for a while, and I know how these things unfold. Okay, like, I know what's gonna come in the future. Evidence-wise, at least I can take a pretty good guess. Like, I didn't have to come in here and talk to you today. You could have gone straight up the road. But that's not really how I operate. I believe there's always a reason for something. I mean, dude, I know the circumstances behind when your bank robbery thing. Like, I read the report, I talked to the investigator. Like, clearly that was the act of a desperate man. That was not a bank, like a serial bank robber or something you see on TV. Cash and Steve Willard checks. I know about all that. I mean, obviously that's not why we're here. I don't think there's any mystery why we're here. Cash and Jeff checks, like, or stealing checks from Jeff. Like, you got no job, or, well, you may have a job, but you've gotten fired from one. You got a baby on the way. I know how stressful that can be, even in the best of circumstances. And so do you, because you have other kids. I can understand why you would go try to steal or try to, do what you have to do to feed yourself and your family. And I understand, because I've been doing this job for a while, that sometimes shit just happens and it just gets out of hand. And you don't intend for something to happen, but it does. But again, I can't stress it enough, man. Like, it's only you that can make that a reality. It's only you that can put that out there. Because what we have right now don't look good. His card is in your wallet.
I know it is.
You know, you deposited $94 cash, okay, from a man who religiously kept around $100 in his wallet. So even if you didn't take the money out of his wallet, it looks like you did. You took his checks, you took his card, and probably his cash. And he's dead. I mean, that doesn't look good.
What the officer is referencing right here is Jeff's wallet, which happened to be missing $100 and all of his bank cards. With Billy's incredible genius, he deposited this exact amount after Jeff's murder in an ATM. And considering all of the evidence so far, it wouldn't take long for Dumb and Dumber here to give a full confession.
Are you a monster?
No, I'm not a monster.
Okay. Are you a cold-blooded killer?
No.
Okay. Then something happened. You know, maybe something got out of hand. Maybe Jeff, you got there, Jeff fought back. You know, I don't know. Maybe you're like, this guy knows me, like I don't want to go back to prison, and shit just went south. You know, and you shot him once, and then you're like, well, I gotta kill him now.
I don't even have a gun.
Then how are you there and he ends up shot 4 times? Maybe he had the gun. You know, like, that's what I'm saying, Billy. Is like, you're a convicted felon, and I don't say that to be an asshole. I say that because I know how hard it can be for a convicted felon to get a gun. You know, so it totally makes sense that you wouldn't have a gun. Maybe he had the gun. Maybe you went to his house, there's a disagreement, he pulls out a gun, you're a big dude, you get it away from him, and shit goes. Maybe that's what happened. But, like, you're not giving me that. I mean, I just spun that up in my head, but I see how that could be a possibility. But you're not giving me that. What it looks like is that you went there with a gun and you fucking killed him. So if that's not what happened, tell me. Because this is the only shot you're going to have. Why don't we just go back to how you got the checks? How did those 3 checks come into your possession? Like 7 o'clock, you pull onto the street. What happens from there? What happens when you get there? Walk me through it.
Pete, I'm scared to death right this second.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
I want to trust you. Okay. I do.
Okay.
And legitimately, I have an explanation.
Okay.
It's not great. It's still bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then what you need to do is trust yourself. You don't need to worry about trusting me. Okay.
But you're asking me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, every single time, hell, even Willard told me, you know, to not say anything and ask for an attorney. But I've always felt that, you know, just talking to somebody, you know, being upfront is always the better option. But
Well, Billy, the thing is, man, is like.
and I don't want to be labeled as a monster because I'm not a monster.
So that's what I'm telling you, bro.
But they're already labeling me a monster.
Nobody's labeled you anything. Okay? It's just me and you here. Okay? Nobody knows you're here except for me and the guys that I work with. And,
Hell,
you know?
my fiance and
Well,
my son know.
Well, there's nothing we can do about that, okay?
You know, but
Except put the right picture out there. Don't put the monster picture out there. That's not what it is. Let's put the right picture out there.
but see, you're not gonna believe you're not gonna believe it. I don't have a gun. I'm sorry, I just don't have one.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how I came into the checks it was the same day. Okay?
Okay. Well, here's the thing, man. Is like, it doesn't necessarily. Like, you're sitting here saying I'm not gonna believe you. We haven't told me yet. First of all. Second of all, like, bro, like, there's only one way to go here, and that's up, because it looks f***ed up. So tell me what happened. Tell me how you got there. Tell me how you got the checks. Put the story out there. This is your chance to write your side of the story. You know? And you don't have to trust me to believe that that's the truth. Like, this is your shot to write your side of the story.
I didn't kill anybody, Pete.
So what happened? You said you got there before 8 o'clock. How did you get in the house?
This is my life. I can't afford to have it all twisted up, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. This is your life. And this is a pivotal moment of it. And this is your chance to explain how we got here.
But even if I explain it and I show you and I tell you I didn't do it, I'm still going to be charged for it, and now it's going to be up to the damn court. So the courts.
How did you get in the house?
To the front door.
Was it locked or unlocked?
It was unlocked.
You rang the doorbell?
I knocked on the door a few times.
The front door?
Yes.
Alright, so then what happened? What happened after you knocked on the door?
I'm not a monster, Pete.
Well, tell me. Tell me why. Prove it to me. You knock on the door. What happens? How many times you knock on the door?
Twice with my standard knock I do.
Okay. Did Jeff come to the door?
No.
So did you let yourself in?
I went and smoked a cigarette first, thinking maybe he was just in the bathroom or he was running late. Not what you think, Pete.
Well, all we got right now is you at the door. You knocked on the door. You went and smoked a cigarette. Then what happened?
Should I have an attorney or no?
I can't tell you that, man. This is your life, man. This is your chance to tell us what happened. This is your chance to get out there. You know? This is your chance to write your side of the story. That's all I can give you, is an opportunity.
Pete, what I did was wrong, but I didn't kill him. Okay? I did not kill anybody.
So what happened? How did you get into the house? You said the front door, it was unlocked. So you let yourself into the house.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I need an attorney, Pete, I'm sorry.
With Billy demanding an attorney, this interview comes to a screeching halt, as detectives cannot question him any further. However, the investigation did not end there. Right after this interview, officers searched the home of Billy's girlfriend and found a .22 caliber handgun. This weapon was determined to be used in Jeff's murder, and after a forensic analysis, Billy's DNA was found on it. Consequently, he went on to face trial for 2 years, and by April of 2023, pleaded guilty to a plethora of charges: first-degree murder, home invasion, armed robbery, and use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Ultimately, he was given a life sentence plus an additional 65 years in prison.